Y'all, it is Taylor Bridges here with another review of Real Housewives of Atlanta. This episode will have episodes 6 and 7. Well, this review will have episodes 6 and 7. So starting with episode 6, titled Rap Sheets and Old Beefs. We get right into it, y'all. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Y'all, to be honest, I'm a little bored with Real Housewives of Atlanta. Maybe my expectations are high. I don't know, but I'm kind of bored a little bit. I don't know what's going on with any of these, like a lot of these reality shows, honestly. They aren't hidden. Like, they're just not. I don't know what's going on, but it's okay, but it's just not giving, but whatever. We start episode 6. We start the episode showing Marlo and Candy interacting. They discuss the death of Marlo's nephew, which took place after he worked for Candy's restaurant, right? They then show Marlo at Candy's house because they're doing like this montage of the past. They show Marlo at Candy's house being consoled and empathized with by Candy. Then they show a montage of Marlo being very ungrateful, entitled, and just being a complete hater of Candy's. It's really nothing else to it. Marlo looks like the biggest hater. Like, it's not even funny. Marlo is actually too old to be behaving like this. Because she clearly has no real beef, no real reason to beef with Candy at this juncture, besides the fact that she's jealous of her. That's the only thing I could place my hand on. And I don't even care for Candy like that. I truly hope that Candy keeps Marlo at a distance once and for all, because I think Candy has done way too much for Marlo, and she has forgiven Marlo way too many times for her to be cutting up the way she does. Marlo is now linking up with her friends, this girl and this guy, but I'm so turned off by Marlo. I really could care less about what she has going on. I'm not even like interested, honestly. I'm not even like wasting my breath, on how stupid and entitled, she sounded during the scene, speaking on Candy. She's delusional. And there's nothing that Candy can do that'll ever be enough for Marlo. And which is ridiculous because Marlo is like super grown. We're now at Sonya'S house with her and her family. Sonya'S sister is constantly a negative vibe every time she's on camera. Every time we see Sonya'S sister, she gets on my nerves. It's not a good look. You and your family should leave. Like, y'all should want to. Stop trying to state your claim as to why you should stay and how missed you'll be. Like, you're a grown woman with a whole family. Y'all don't want y'all's own space? And at the very least, you it shouldn't even be an attitude the moment Sonya and her husband want their own space. It's not like they're kicking y'all out the next day. And obviously, I'm sure they'd help with any transitional support that y'all need, especially because they want y'all out. So I don't know what having an attitude about it. Either there's a detail about this we're missing, or she just has a stank attitude. And your mama too, Sonya, she should beat it. Like, no way, this family dynamic is healthy. I don't think it's sustainable long term. It's not working. I don't see how this can work. The scene ends with Sonya, being passive aggressive about not helping her sister, do this and that since she's moving out, when Sonya's the one who asked them to move out in the first place. The family mixed with the business on top of all of their personalities. It's a disaster. There's already a lack of respect and a sense of entitlement mixed in all of this. So I don't see how this is gonna work long term. We're with Kenya at what will be a Kenya Moore hair spa and slash salon. I'm very happy for Kenya. I think this is a great pivot and investment for her. It makes a lot of sense. Kenya ends up telling her friend that Marlo attacked her daughter Brooklyn back when they were in, I think, Birmingham. And that couldn't be closer to a lie. That is not how that went, Kenya. That's not how that went. So stop it. Like, Kenya need to cut it out. Like, stop it. At Chateau Sheree's kids and her grandchild, they're all there. Sheree is really proud at how good of a dad her son Cairo has been to his family, since she's never received that sort of support with any of her 3 children. And, I do agree with Sheree. I think that she did do right in the way she raised Cairo. He seemed like a decent dude. And it affects how he was raised, definitely affects, obviously, how he shows up for his seed. All working out well. It was a really nice scene. It was really nice seeing Sheree in grandma mode. Just something to endear me to her, because I can't stand Sheree. At Drew and Ralph's place, we're there. I'm wondering when they're going to have a storyline outside of Ralph being her husbander and Courtney and Ralph being cousins, supposedly. Drew discusses the beef with Marlo. But do we even really care at this point? Like, it's really not even that serious to still be discussing, let alone for it to be your storyline, Drew. Because it's looking like there's like not even a real drama there, and you're like kind of just trying to drag it out for some sort of action, and it's getting boring. Candy's with Todd. She FaceTimes Kenya to see what Kenya is going to wear to Courtney's escape room game event. Kenya informs Candy about how bitter Marlo has been over her nephew passing, and how it's been an issue that Candy didn't offer the help and sympathy that Marlo was expecting after the situation. And I want Marlo off the show, but it probably won't happen. Candy was livid from the information that Kenya gave to her. And it ends up rearing its head in the next scene. So now all the ladies arrive to the event. But I could have sworn that they said last episode that the event was going to be at Courtney's house. I don't know if I misheard. When Candy arrives, she's not doing too well. Like, she's already ready for confrontation, and I don't blame her. She immediately asks Marlo what's her issue like surrounding the death of Marlo's nephew. Candy, Drew, and Marlo go off to the side to discuss. Marlo knew exactly what she was doing and what narrative, what she was doing with this whole beef with Candy in the beginning to begin with, and what narrative, she was trying to put out there about Candy. And Candy was absolutely correct that Marlo is trying to associate her nephew's death to Candy's business. Like, Marlo's saying it's about one thing, but she's definitely putting this stuff off on Candy. Like, definitely. And I think you're trifling for that, Marlo. I would have just had to hit Marlo below the belt one good time. Because she's insane. And she needs to behind whip one good time, I think. Like, I'm sick of her mouth. I think she's less than intelligent. And I think she's doing the most. It's not a good look. Then Sonya's fake behind, talking about how Marlo is getting a bad rap when she's not the only one being aggressive. Like, shut up. Marlo tried it with Candy by spreading this narrative around, Candy's identity without even addressing it with Candy first. You know what I mean? Like, you never even had a conversation. You were already around Candy multiple times since then. Multiple times. Candy's not being aggressive. Marlo is purposely grouping Candy and her cousin together for the sake of clout and false blame. And I'm glad Candy told Kenya that she better not hold her back if things pop off. Marlo is just such a peasant, So I don't know. I don't even want Candy to even give her the time of day. And so when Kenya, Candy, Drew, and Monyetta go outside to cool off, Candy starts reading off all these text messages, and the tones of the messages when Marlo even texted Candy about her nephew's death wasn't even like as dire as Marlo's making it out to be now. So I'm really glad the ladies and us, we get to see clearly what's happening here. So now Marlo is crying. She's seeking sympathy. The very sympathy she laughed at Candy for, seeking, because Candy was crying. Well, she was starting to get a little frustrated and teary-eyed, and Marlo made fun of her for that when they were inside. So, I don't know. But this is where I end the episode 6 of the review. And now I'm moving to episode 7. This episode is titled Keeping It Gucci. All right. Thanks so much, y'all, for tuning in. All right. Drew is starting off the episode. She's meeting with a music producer, Rage. They're planning for Drew's upcoming music video. Rage asks Drew how Ralph's body is doing, because if it's not in perfect shape, they'll have to recast him as the lead in Drew's music video. And I think Drew should take the advice. I think Ralph is not the artist, and Drew needs to conduct her music business as professionally as possible. And that involves following the creative direction for the best results, the professional. Sheree and Sonya are meeting up at a wellness center. I think it's cool that Rihanna shouted out She by Sheree, but it is still really frustrating how mediocre Sheree is with this clothing line. Like, you're on a whole TV show and you're still not running a successful household name of a clothing brand. Like, not even on the low end. Marlo is going to dinner with Courtney. I really don't like when any of the women, not just Marlo, pick and choose who to be mean and nice to, right? But why can't Marlo be as pleasant as she is with Courtney with the other ladies? And vice versa. Vice versa. Why can't the ladies just be as pleasant as they are with other ladies with other women? You know what I mean? I think that's great that Courtney is helping Marlo regain her right to bear arms so that she can protect herself and her family. I think that's great. I think that's a decent connection for them too on the show in regards to a storyline. Pardon me. Sonya and Candy are eating at OLG. I noticed that their food made it to the table before the drinks did. Did anyone catch that? Like, there was no drinks at the table and those appetizers came out. Candy expresses the high she was on coming off the open night of the piano lesson, only to have to deal with the drama from Marlo upon her return. Because, you know, when she got back, that's when Kenya told her how Marlo was tripping. And I totally get how Candy's feeling. I think Candy should embrace outgrowing the show. I really feel like Candy is beyond the show. She's peaked on this show, and she's she's in prestigious spaces, you know. Her cast is just not on her level outside of the show. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the truth. Like, Candy's just on a whole other level. She's a whole other identity, like completely outside of Real Housewives of Atlanta at this point. And I don't even care for Candy like that, but I definitely think she's beyond the show now. Candy brings up to Sonya how she rides the fence, and Sonya definitely rides the fence. That's not even up for debate. Sonya, no one cares about you being friends with Marlo. The issue is you turning a blind eye to the foolishness that Marlo enacts. That's the issue. And Marlo is a big fat liar, saying she hadn't seen Candy, you know, in time to bring up the death of her nephew that passed away 2-3 years ago. And I really hate that Candy still gets bothered by Marlo's antics. I really want Candy to wipe her hands of Marlo for good. I can't wait to the reunion. Sonya, you're going to have cake on your face for sticking up for Marlo. Marlo's about to make you look almost as stupid as her. I can't wait for you to see it. Drew is practicing her choreography for her upcoming video shoot. Ralph wasn't excited about not being the leading man. Everyone says Ralph is so fine. I don't see it. I never did. He has a very weird shaped head. You know, it's very top heavy, up here. He's just not all that attractive to me. But he's not my husband, so it doesn't really matter. But overall, Drew prefers that Ralph be in the music video after all. So whatever. I thought it was super funny and cringe seeing Ralph put on this like sexy face, you know, like when Drew was dancing on him. I'm like, stop squinting your eyes like that. Like, stop doing that. Stop doing that in front of the cameras. Y'all, Kenya Moore is not going to do a baby storyline this season, because I promise you, it's not real and we don't care. Kenya is at the doctor to discuss her hormones being all over the place, and she's also pretending like she wants to have another baby. I believe that Kenya wishes she could have had another baby. or a sibling for Brooklyn. But I do not think she literally wants to have one in the present tense, let alone with Mark Daly. That's where Kenya, for sure, if we already were skeptical of what, her intentions were in regards to this storyline, the minute she mentioned having another one with Mark Daly, we know for sure this ain't happening. And I think it's lame for you, Kenya. You know doggone well you're not having another child with Mark. That would actually be the dumbest thing Kenya has done, and Kenya's no dummy. That would be dumb. This man won't even give you a full divorce yet, and you're talking about having another child. Like, girl, stop it. And what are you doing? Why would you let yourself look this dumb for some lame storyline? And especially for something that's not even ever coming true. Fast forward, we're at Sheree's Gucci party. I hate how Sheree pretends to be a peacemaker. That's something that, outside of her mediocrity, that's something that really annoys me about her. Sheree barely likes anybody in this group. Sheree is going to befriend who she has to stay on the show. And I hate that Sheree isn't as good of a friend to like Kenya as Kenya is to her. Or at least she doesn't see Kenya as the same type of friend that Kenya sees Sheree. And I don't think that's cool. I don't like that about Sheree. I think the Gucci theme was kind of corny, I don't know. It didn't really make sense to me. Like, they were just going to a random brunch spot. Why do y'all have to dress up in Gucci? I don't know. It didn't really like match. It didn't really make sense to me. But I don't even think the women really showed up. I don't even think the women executed well. It was probably the worst dressed moment that the ladies have had as a collective all season. It wasn't giving at all. At all. I was definitely expecting better. And Sheree trying to mediate. Sheree could actually care less about who's getting along or not. Courtney and Kandi have moved forward quite well. Kandi appreciated how Courtney was checking on her after Kandi's altercation with Marlo at the escape room event that Courtney threw. I'm glad Kandi did opt to move forward. Sonya wants to address Kenya because she doesn't feel like the friendship she's giving Kenya is being reciprocated, especially when Kenya said in the Birmingham trip that everyone should go home except for her real friends, who was Monyetta and who else? Sheree? I think Sheree. But I'm glad that Kenya was being honest. And, she came out and told Sonya that she doesn't trust her. Sonya is not trustworthy. She's a flip-flopper. But I don't think the reason that Kenya gave in that example, in that moment, was the proper example. Kenya says she's particularly upset about Sonya commenting on her fake book that we all know is fake, right? Sonya is playing semantics. But her response was definitely in tune with what those of us know, which is Kenya's butt is fake, right? Sonya has shown to be a flip-flopper well before that moment about the fake butt. So I don't know if you're even really upset for the right reasons, other than you being sensitive and wanting your friend to cover up the fact that you have a fake butt. But you have plenty of reason not to trust Sonya. But that was a lame excuse. Kenya does tell Sonya that she wants to move forward and she wants to see if Sonya is worthy of her trust. But Kenya needs to realize that nobody is auditioning for your friendship, Kenya. It's not even that deep. But then here you go, Sonya agrees, and then she is in the confessional again, throwing shade about Kenya's butt. And there lies the issue. Why keep waiting until you're in the confessional or away from the person to say how you really feel? That's fake. It's not going to go over well at the reunion. If Sonya and Kenya were on the rocks, they're for sure. Kenya is definitely not messing with Sonya at all from this point. Now it's Marlo's turn to get her grievances out. She's starting off passive aggressive. And Kenya, Kandi, and Drew are not having it with her. And I was happy to see it. Marlo is still trying to have a moment off of Kandi. And she continues to fail miserably. And Sheree, you shut up. Talking about Marlo was being attacked. I do not see Marlo being attacked necessarily. I do actually applaud Marlo for leaving the table for a second instead of just going back and forth with Kenya, because she really wasn't even talking to Kenya, actually. And we know how Kenya get when she get in her bag, she don't shut up. She starts to poke, and she gonna keep going. So I'm glad that Marlo actually did get up from the table, because I didn't feel like hearing that back and forth. Kenya with that high pitched voice, and Marlo, don't want to hear it. Marlo ends up coming back to finish her conversation with Kandi, but she's back to spewing BS, and she's just not taking accountability. So it was all for naught. Sheree is delusional, trying to take credit for some type of reconciliation done at the brunch. She's ridiculous. But that concludes my review for episodes 6 and 7. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. And please, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you this Sunday for the new episode. Bye, y'all.